Transnet fails in its operation capacity and performance, many producers are moving to transport their goods on road rather than rail to the country's ports. The unintended consequence of this is that immense pressure is placed on South Africa's national, provincial and municipal roads. Farmers in various provinces say that poor road infrastructure is a burden on food security. Let's discuss the state of our roads now. I'm joined by Vusi Mona, Sanral Spokesperson. A very good afternoon to you. Welcome to Newzroom Afrika. At what rate would you say the country's roads are deteriorating, and perhaps what is the main cause for the damage?
Well, the national roads in particular are deteriorating because they are attracting a lot of these tipper trucks that are transporting cargo, freight, especially coal, to the different ports in Maputo, Richards Bay. And as you've alluded in your intro, why the trucks are coming onto the highways is because rail is basically failing to cope. Roads were not meant to transport cargo and coal. But with the failing rail network, transporters are moving their cargo onto roads, and that is simply unsustainable.
Yeah. Do you think changing the allowed tonnage on the country's roads would perhaps force goods back on the country's railway lines?
Well, there's already provision for loading. There's provision for fines if you overload. So I'm not sure if that is going to assist without introducing elements of inefficiency. You could have, the owners of these trucks arguing that we are interfering with their ability to sweat their asset. If a truck is meant to take so much, we can't come with a regulation, that all of a sudden says you could only use half the capacity. The solution really lies in getting our rail system working and moving the freight onto rail.
Yeah. And when it comes to the distance of roads that Sanral covers, how much of it is it? And what's the cost to develop and maintain the country's road network?
Well, South Africa has a network of 750,000 kilometers. Sanral is responsible for just over 23,000 kilometers of those, what we call national roads. The balance is split between your provincial roads and your municipal roads. In terms of maintenance, what is the cost? Just about 2 years ago, we estimated just the backlog alone to be over 400 billion. That was the road maintenance backlog that the country was facing. In 2021, we're in 2023 now. I'm sure the figure has gone above half a trillion.
And is Sanral working at all with the Department of Transport and Transnet to perhaps come up with a workable solution to the current issues? I mean, it will need a multifaceted approach.
Oh, definitely. There is a concerted effort right from, national government. I'm aware at some stage the United Nations produced a paper for the presidency, SARS, I think National Treasury, to address this issue. And we are part of the conversation ourselves. So there is definitely a national effort to address this. Can there be maybe a greater sense of agency? I think so. We could certainly pick up the pace. The danger is, we will soon reach a stage where it will be difficult to recover, and we've seen it happen. We're not exaggerating. We're not shouting fire in a packed theater here. We've seen it happen with the national electricity security in this country. If you don't address issues early enough, you soon reach a tipping point beyond which it becomes very difficult to recover.
You say that progress could be accelerated. If you had to look at the pace of the process, which level do you think these talks are at?
Well, look, the sense of agency is there, but I'm saying, from a personal point of view, we could do more because I mean, just last week I was driving to Maputo for the weekend, and I could tell we are heading for a crisis here. You don't need to be a rocket scientist or a transport economist to see that what is happening on the road is just not sustainable. 20 kilometers before the Libombo border, you had this long queue of trucks, truck drivers misbehaving, creating 2 lanes and blocking oncoming traffic. So it's really becoming chaotic. It's a mayhem out there, and we need to get on top of the situation urgently.
Yeah, and it's chaos that could become fatal, as we've seen in the recent months.
Oh, indeed. With the number of trucks we have on the roads interacting with other road users, the chances of road crashes happening will increase. So it is also a road safety issue.
Very well. Thank you so much for joining us, Vusi Mona, Sanral spokesperson there, speaking about Transnet failing in its operation capacity and performance as many move to transport their goods on roads instead of the country's rails.